Wait a second. It is cold today, so welcome. I'm in Dedham, Massachusetts, where a little bit more than Lizzy Borden's pets are buried. We have another famous dog who's buried here. So wait a second. Hey everybody. Oh, let me get my glasses. Shoot, that's what I didn't forget them. Okay. Anybody know who Igloo is? Anybody want to take a guess without Googling? Hi everybody. Vicky, Shelma. No special guests today. That was something came up, but next time. Hey Jackie. Any guesses on who Igloo is? As a hint, military. The U.S. flags. This is it's a large. I mean, it comes up to my shoulders. Comes up to my shoulders, so it's quite a monument. No idea. Okay, Igloo. God, it got cold. Have you heard of Admiral Byrd? He was a naval officer, he was a pioneer, aviator, and he was the polar explorer. Hi, Kimberly. To the Antarctica. Okay, so there's an interesting story behind Igloo. That's his dog. He had a fox terrier. I think it was called a wire fox terrier, W-I-R-E. Okay, Admiral Richard Byrd, he died in 1957 in Boston. He's originally from Virginia. He was one of our last great explorers. We get a little history lesson in here. So the story with his dog is, there was a woman who lived in Washington, D.C., and I hope you can hear me okay. And she was waiting for a bus, and it was a very rainy evening. And I think it was in April, the month of April. And she noticed this and she asked around if anybody owned it. Nobody claimed it, so she snuck it into her apartment through the fire escape up to her apartment window, because the animals were not allowed in her apartment complex. So she kept the dog for a couple of weeks, trying to figure out what to do with it. And she noticed that he was a very curious dog. And she somehow I don't know how she got in touch with Admiral Byrd, if they were friends. And he originally declined taking the dog, but she insisted, you got to take this dog. There's something about him. So he finally gave in, and he said rush him to New York because their ship was ready to deport. So she got him to New York, and that was how Admiral Byrd and Igloo met and became best of friends. And this dog traveled with Admiral Byrd through the Antarcticas on ships. The Antarctica was by plane, aviation. And it says here, Igloo, he was more than a friend. And it was in 1931, Byrd was out in Chicago, Illinois, giving a lecture, and he got word that his dog became sick, and he rushed back to Boston, where he was living at the time, but Igloo passed away before he got back. And they think that he died from rat poisoning that they used to put out on the streets to kill rats. And that's the story of Igloo. So, and did the dog go on the expedition? Absolutely. He went on several expeditions. He had a aviation gear, the appropriate jackets for the extreme temperatures in the, I believe it was the North Pole. Admiral Byrd explored. He was on ships. So he was on all of Admiral Byrd's, most of his expeditions, if not all of them, after he adopted Igloo. I don't know how old Igloo was, and Admiral Byrd, I'd love to find where he's buried. He died in 1957 in Boston. He let it go. Okay, I gotta get off this hill. So we're at a pet cemetery. I'm gonna take you to the old section of this pet cemetery. Here's one, Prince Lufkin, 1915, 1925. By day and by night, he guarded the home and patiently watched for his master to come. With uplifted paws, he showed his affection, ever faithful and true with loving devotion. 1915 and 1925, so that he was 10 years old. So these are just a few of the graves that are up here, but down there, okay, down there, ooh, look at that tree branch that fell, is the old section, and we're gonna head over to Lizzy Borden's pets. She had 3 Boston Terriers that are buried there. And when we get there, I'll tell you the story about her dedication to animals. She was acquitted of the trial of the murder of her father and mother. And she continued, in Fall River, Mass, she continued advocating for animals and helped erect animal shelters, funded them even after her death. She had a trust that went to one particular shelter. So this is to the many dogs that have given their lives in service to man. So this is a service animals. And you're gonna find a lot of these graves, the names are like human names. But let's go over. This kind of creeps me out because Lizzy Borden's pets are buried in the furthest corner of this cemetery. You ready? Right here. What is on? What is this? Lizzy Borden remix. Well, that sucks. Who would put that there? Traditional legend rhyme. Lizzy Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. Lizzy Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks, and she stood behind the door and gave her father 40 more. You know, that to me is cruel. That somebody left that here. The legend, the truth, and the final chapter, Arnold Brown, 1991. Nah. So you know what? You suck. You suck. Okay. I just think, these are her pets. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, let me just set my tripod up so I can put this down. I don't think that was necessary to put on that grave of the pets. Bear with me 1 second. Oh, I can never get the bottom. There we go. Sorry. Okay, let's turn you guys around. Sorry about that. I fell out. Okay. Okay. This is Borden Pets, okay? And I'll tell you a little story about this. Hey, Melinda, Kimberly, you dropped the phone. Yeah, Blair Witch Project. Help, you guys. Okay, so she had 3 Boston Terriers. Now, they died after her, I believe. And after she died, her trust, the people who owned the animal shelter that she supported, agreed to take care of her pets. And they were Donald Stewart, Royal Nelson, and Laddie Miller. She also had a cat. I don't know where the cat is buried or if it is even buried anywhere. Okay. Lizzy Borden died in 1927. And so it was 1913. She helped fund the start of a rescue center in Fall River, Massachusetts. That's where she lived all of her life. Even after the trial, she stayed in Fall River. The townspeople just did not stop gossiping about her. She ended up moving in with her sister in her later life. And I believe she stayed at the house where her parents were murdered prior to that. So she helped fund the start of a rescue center in Fall River. And it was originally to care for abused draft horses. So horses that were in the military. Yeah, she was acquitted. Yeah. So that was in 1913. She funded that rescue center for horses that were abused, that were drafted into the war. And in 1970, it expanded to cats and dogs. And it's still there. It's just under a different name, and I don't recall the name of it right now. But that shelter is still there. So that's just, she had a very fond love for animals. But yes, she was acquitted. Yeah. Can you imagine? I would have been like, see ya. If a town, it's like being in YouTube and the shit channels all 24/7, right? And she went out, she shopped, she wasn't a recluse. She didn't stay in, although I think when she was older, they saw less and less of her. But it's they just could never prove it was her. There wasn't any evidence, nothing. And I believe it was a pharmacist who made some statement, and maybe I'll do a video and talk about the Lizzy Borden trial. It was a pharmacist that made a statement without any proof of her guilt, as he thought, and the courts went with that, and they still couldn't prove. There was no blood splatter on her, nothing. There was nothing. Yes, it's very windy here in New England today. I have on, well, almost gloves. I got my pumpkin, my Halloween festive October nails. Um, so actually, I'm gonna take that paper. That's disgusting. I don't know. I think it's disgusting that somebody would do that. Oh, there's another part of it. A revised legend rhyme. Lizzy Borden's took a hacket, gave stepmother 21 whacks with it. In 90 minutes more would come, she gave her father 10 plus 1. She was tried, convicted, not. Hadn't William won that spot for hatchet work? More mystery. Who hung Weird William from that tree? And then somebody writes in writing, did Lizzy put her illegitimate psychotic half-brother William to the task? And the 130th anniversary was August 4th, 2020. Hey, lovable rogue, how are you? I think this woman has suffered enough. Hey, heads up. No, you're not that late. I went over Admiral Bird's dog, Igloo, which was at the beginning of my live. A little bio on him. The dog that went on the explorations with Admiral Byrd. And that was also a terrier. Hold on. I just want to get my drink out. So I'll sit here for a couple of minutes, and then I'll take you around the rest of the cemetery. Oh, it's 88 there, Rosie? Oh, I'm so sorry. Have some water. You must be so thirsty. I'm ready for like a hot cocoa. Yeah, so I was gonna have it at 2 o'clock. I get here, and my charger cord broke. You know those long cords you can get at CVS, and the stupid thing, second one I've had, broke right where it goes into your cell phone. So I'm like, oh my God. And I almost brought an extra one with me. I'm like, nah. So I had to go to the store and blow $15 for a cord so I could put my battery pack on it. It was right when I pulled in. I'm like, oh, my phone isn't charged because the charger that goes into your phone broke off. And it was the second time the same exact charger. It's those like 15 feet cords, so don't buy them if you see them at CVS. They come in all different designs. They were selling them, I think, over the summer, but they have some left over. But that was my second one that broke the same exact way, so. Yeah, so I had to go to the store and get another one and then come back. So that was why I had the delay. So it's an interesting grave. And I don't think there's, if I recall, I don't think there's anything in the back. There's some coins, but that's it. Yeah. It's in the very corner of the cemetery. It's almost as if there's no date, but when was it, 1927? They died. The pet, well, obviously, I don't know. The pets all died, I'm sure, at different times. But oh, your daughter has COVID. I just tested negative, which I was shocked. I tested yesterday, so thank God. Yeah, hopefully she'll be okay. I think the worst part is isolating, and just having to be away from everyone. But mine was relatively mild. I think I didn't have loss of taste. I had my appetite. It was the cough that was exhausting. And the first few days it was body aches. It felt like a mild flu. 85 in Florida. Your electric, thank God, Barbie, your electricity is back. Thank God. So, this is the far corner of the cemetery, and all down there is more. But these are all graves of pets, and I'll bring you down there. There's so many graves. I would be here all day to show you one of them, but I'll show you the interesting. Okay. Bye, fur babies. Okay. Mac. It's about all you can see. Some of these are so old. New England Boy, 1908 to 1911. Watchin Hull, our dearest friend and companion, 1910 to 1990. 90. Susanna Hull, our beloved and loving friend, 1919 to 1930. So a lot of these names are like human names. Dewey, he was only a cat, but he was a human enough to be a great comfort in our house of loneliness and pain. 1898 to 1910. Romeo Wales, 1896 to 1906. Jappy and Jaspy, Mrs. Moray. And a lot of people too, they put the names of their owners. Our pet parrot, Polly, 1893 to 1911. So I never knew pet cemeteries existed this far back. I thought it was just some new trend that started. In loving memory of little Rex, 15 years and 5 months, 1911. Little blue-eyed Bess died April 19th, 1911. Okay, Sally, 1905, 1914, she will forever in the hearts of those who loved her. Bessie, 1901 to 1914, a faithful friend. Carrie, 1909, 1918, rest in peace. Muggins, Diop, age 10 years. This is Halsey Haskell. For 20 years, my faithful friend, baby, darling, gone but not forgotten. And I don't see a date on it. But that's all marble. It's pretty. Buddy and his owner was Louis S. Sanger. So again, so a lot of people put their owner's name under them. Oh, don't cry, Melinda. Drolet Kosaitsky, 1924 to 1933. Mimi, our beloved kitty, 1914 to 1932. Mr. and Mrs. Kimball. In memory of our faithful dog, Sandy, 1910, 1921. Loving and loved, Mr. and Mrs. Walter R. Fogg. Sunny Loretta Bub. Oh, this one's gone. It's gone. And you wonder, their owners, if their families, most of their immediate family, I'm sure they're all gone. In memory of our dear baby, Mr. and Mrs. Calowax. In memory of Chickaboo Lee, 1912, 1920, Irish Molio, 1912, 1922, my faithful dogs, May Burke. Yeah, it is interesting. Timothy Titmouse, 1916 and 1926. A lot of these have mold on them. I should have bought a scraper. Right. Next time I come, I'll bring like a wire scraper. This one is worn. Well, maybe not. That's a mouse. Yeah, that's all. This is all worn. Now, I don't know if it's a pet gerbil or if that's actually a dog that just happens to look like a mouse. Hard to tell, but maybe it was like a little, I think it was a dog, maybe like a chihuahua or something. Ooh, I just got dizzy standing up. Okay. Beloved pet of Edith Cummings, 1926 to 1932. Spot. Butler, that's the family's last name, Butler. 1922 was Kiwi, died 1930. Punch, 1918 and 1931. Pal, 1924 to 1938. And Wren, 1932 to 1948. And that was the Butler family. There's so many. Look, I mean, it just goes on and on. I always loved this spot under that big tree. Chin Chin, 1919 to 1935, our sweetheart. So over here, you know, it's, you don't see the late, the older graves are down there, and that's where Lizzy Borden's grave is down there. But these are still Prince Charlie, 1921 and 1935. Brownie Dover, 3 years old, 1932 to 35. Looks like a little oinker to you. This is a pretty grave. Sheila, 1930. You see how, like, a lot of them are human names, to 1945. Maida, 1921 to 1931. And over here, Bobby and Barney, Estella, 1948, Bobby and Barney. And this one is Trixie Moore, 1920 something to 1932. Something to the end. Pal to the end. Bud, Dottie, 1918 to 1933, owner Murray Wells. Buster, Lund, Betty, this is a large one. C.H. Blitz in Voss, April 29th, 1933 to August 25th, 1937. Tree Eve, Mrs. G.O.T. Dexter. Can you imagine? Tootsie, the money. Peggy, another Peggy. I have all my dog's ashes so we can be laid to rest together. Seems strange, I know. No, it doesn't. I know a lot of people who've had that done, actually. Dolly. Precious Chinny, 1939. Dickie, Dolly, Peggy, and Barry. Toto, our Petty, our Joy, 1927 to 1933, 1938 to 1943, Mr. and Mrs. H. Abrams. We loved him so. He lives forever in our hearts. Venus, 1929 to 1940. Monk, Wolseley, Sassy, 1928 to 1941. My, our darling, 1935 to 1942. Our dog Wimpy, Florence and Vincent Picciolo. Peter, Rob Roy, Sally, Happy Nichols, 1932 to 1942. Ming, A Faithful Child, 1933 to 1947. Oh wow, look at this feather. Look. Might be from a hawk or an eagle. Mickey. Oh, another feather. Soothie, a cat, 1936 to 1952. Smith Hall. Shishi Everett, our Cupid. Yeah, those were pretty feathers. Oh, look at the granite. Our Pinky, 1927 to 1941. That one's pretty. Prince, Billy, best little feller. Donald, Roger, Baby, and Conde. So you see how interesting, like, their names back then were given human names. Why not? My dog had a human name. Okay. Picky Chicky Fiogoro, beloved companion of Joseph Mary Gagne. Picky and Chicky. Darty and Winky, beloved cats of Myrtle McLeod. Ginger and Vicky. Pal Monroe. Little Audrey, 1938 to 1952. Dalma. Henry Wallace. Faithful and loving unto death, Sheldon. Zuzu. Scarlett O'Hara Rounds, 1940 to 1950. Scarlett O'Hara. Oh, Ivy. They're in heaven. Mike, beloved pal of Mr. and Mrs. Ida M. Adams, 1950. Mike, Queenie, Rex, Trixie, Cleo, and Lassie. Peggy, Sonia, Lucky, Heather. Alaric of the Rhine Crossing, first UDT giant schnauzer in U.S. Wow, first, what's UDT? Giant schnauzer in the United States, 1945 to 1958. Scotty Durgan, a good dog, a real friend, 18 years, 2 months. Wow, he lived a good life for a dog. Nikki Mitchell, Bonnie, Picky. Oh, I already did Picky Chicky. And there's more. They do maintain it, though. Always in my heart, Heidi. Ellie. Waggy. Pepe and Bambi. Born February 1961. Died January 5th, 1975. Zoe. I loved her with a love that was more than love. My sweet, sweet Zoe, 1971 to 1973. Oh, this young, puggy boy. My good boys, Chippy, Snoopy. Tammy, Cuddles, Marks, always with me. I gotta watch where I'm stepping. There's so many divots. Some of them have so much moss and mold on them. Ooh. Duchess, 1952 to 1963. Let's go look at that one way down at the end with the American flag. So there are military dogs buried here. Beans. I love the name. Bottoms. No, Buttons. Bottoms. Buttons. Miss Pepper. Pebbles. It's another granite. To Baron with thanks. Yeah, I have my pet cremated, so she's at home with us. Oh, wow, okay. This is a horse. Prescott. Never. Okay. 1956 to 1994. Never in the history of the Boston Mounted Police has there been a nobler steed, graced with poise and stealth-eartedness. Great. Give me a big word. Goodbye, old friend and comrade, until we meet again in those verdant pastures. Boston Mounted Police. Wow. You had a Bella, Echo, Polly, Betty, Maisie, Peepa, and Misha. Wow, you had a lot of dogs. Jamie, hi. UDT is utility dog title, a ranking in the AKC. Oh, okay, thank you. So this is a horse. Prescott. That's an airy tree. Our leaves are just starting to turn. I'm hoping in the next, probably in 2 weeks, to get up to Maine and show you the foliage up there. Princess, Mike, Cindy, Baron, Duchess, Corky, we loved you. We loved you all. It is huge. Now this is the old part. There's another section on the other side. There's an animal shelter up there. There's an animal shelter. And then on the other side of that, there's a newer part to the cemetery. So if you had a pet that passed away now, it would be buried on the other side. Penelope, and you can see that that cemetery from the road. But I like the setup of this. Lassie, 1952 to 1969. Ever faithful Tippy, Ginger, Rusty. Two of them died in 1969 and one died in 1972. Brandy, our beloved Mimi. So these are, now we're up to the late 50s. Oh, here's a new one. Snoopy. This is fairly newer. Snoopy and Barkley, 1991. 1977 to 1991. That's a long life for a pet. This one had a picture that is no longer there. Mitzi. See, all the ones with the pictures fell out. Needs a good power wash. That's why it's important to donate to your animal shelters or in your area. See if there are pet cemeteries that are. This one's affiliated with an animal shelter. So, Chubby, gray cat, died April 30th, 1954. Chubby. Pipple, Pipple, Pipple. Marie Martin. Goldie, yellow cat, died 1956. Maury, beloved dog of Ruth Landgray. Oh, I think I see one with a picture. Again, I gotta be careful. I can't read chat. There's so many divots. Oh, okay. This one. Chico. 1960. That's the dog. And then Ulysses. It's a cat. Oh, she looks like a cat I used to have. 1947. August 27th, 1961. My beloved sleeps. Breath of life now with Christ. Oh my goodness. Wow. It's interesting. Every time I come here, I see new graves. Crocker, Chico, August 18th, 1947, 14 months, my baby, Arlene Campbell. Oh, the puppy. Weenie, my last beloved pet, died September 4th, 1941, Gertrude Brothers. Danny, Jimmy Rich, 1941. Boston Terriers, pets of Jack and Mabel. Oh, how far I did that one. In loving memory, Dickie, Teddy, Trixie. The newer cemetery has a lot of poems on them that will make you cry. A lot of poems. Faithful, Rover B, 1927. Oh, there's a picture. Looks like... Oh, you can see it. See the dog? Skippy. Whoop. Did anybody miss the Borden pet's grave? I can go right back to it if you want. If you came in after, I can show it to you again. This one is 1907 to 1919. Faithful something. Pine Ridge, which is the name of the cemetery I'm at. Buffy. Does anyone want to go back? You missed it? Okay. All right, let's go back to Lizzy Borden's pets. Betty Baker Gerard, 1916 to 1922. Betty Baker. Sorry if I cough once in a while. I still have like residual from COVID. Teddy Laddie. In memory of our cat, Buttons Binny, July 1916 to November 1916. Oh. Okay, so again, Lizzy Borden. After her favorite dog were Boston Terriers. And after her death, her trust covered the expense for the care of her 3 dogs. She did have a cat, but I don't know anything about the cat. The animal shelter that she funded was originally for war horses that were abused. And then that was in 1913. And then in 1917, they took in cats and dogs. I heard somewhere that they were originally buried in her backyard, but that doesn't make sense to me now, because if they were, I guess they were exhumed and put over here, but I don't know if that's true. Once they sold the house, I have no idea. Okay, so let me set my tripod up again. Okay, Lizzy Borden's 3 Boston Terriers, all dogs. Donald Stewart, Royal Nelson, Laddie Miller, sleeping a while. Okay, ooh, there I go again. I want to get this. Okay, get this so you can see the hole. Just get a piece of wood. Okay, so this grave does get a lot of traction around Halloween. Or this time of year. I did find this on her grave. To me, I don't know. It just seems so distasteful. It's the poem of, you know, Lizzy Borden had an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. I don't know. I think to me it's disrespectful. These were her pets. I think it's disrespectful for any grave. But